Man. Here we go.
What do you think of your fourth down defense?
What'd you say?
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry.
I was going to ask, what you think of fourth down? I was going to ask the same thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Those are turnovers in our mind. And really, really good coverage and rush together. Aggressive play by the front, good matching in the secondary. It's a good football team, and to be able to go, what was it?
4 for 5.
Able to be, 5 for 5 the way we look at it. Outstanding.
Does that influence the way you make some of the decisions, in particular the fourth and one push when you know that you have the defense playing pretty well?
The defense played awesome. I got a ton of confidence in my guys, in our guys to go out and execute. Obviously, I'm going to be second guessing myself about the fourth and 1 in our own territory there. But awesome job by the defense holding them to 3 there. We got about half of it the play before. I thought we could get the other half right there. We didn't. So I have to live with that. When we don't execute on fourth down, I again have a ton of confidence in our guys to be able to do so. If you don't have the confidence, I don't care what numbers say what, you don't go for it there. But I had a lot of confidence and it didn't work. So anytime it doesn't work in a fourth down situation, I'm always going to be hypercritical of myself because it's on me making that decision. And I'll go back and look at it. Hey, it didn't work. So obviously when I'm sitting here right now, I'm like, I should have punted it there. If it works, you're able to either drain their timeouts there or take another 2 minutes off the clock. But in that case, it didn't work, and I gave him a short field right there, so that's 100% on me.
What do you think of Adoree Jackson's play and how he's approached that spot throughout the season?
Yeah, obviously, was it a fourth down or a third down where we had the big stop, where he had the big third down, and then they punted after that? Yeah, huge play there. Felt like he was sticky in coverage this evening. Obviously, I love when guys have the mental toughness to give up, when they give up a play to come back and continue to fight. That just speaks a lot of the character of the person and the character of the team. So to be able to, obviously Jameson Williams is a phenomenal football player, explosive. They got a lot of good players over there, and he makes that play and then goes for a touchdown. And then I felt like Adoree really had a good game, after that, to be able to put it in the past and execute when we needed him the most.
The defensive front as a whole, Jalen Phillips, your second game with him, seems like everything is kind of clicked together. Jordan Davis with the batted balls, the pass rush as a whole. Just that group, did that set the tone for this game?
I think so. We were able to get some early pressure on him and get some hits on him. Those are always going to affect quarterbacks, so we did a really good job there as a defensive front. I think that's 2 games, actually 3 games in a row where it's been humming up front. We like to play that way, right? Being led by our offense and defensive line. Excuse me. Those bat downs were really, really impressive, but not surprising to us because that's what practice looked like and has been looking like. And so practice is a great indicator of what the game's going to look like. And our defense in practice, the energy, speaking of the bat downs, the crushing of blocks, we just did a really nice job there tonight.
From an offensive perspective, how kind of demoralizing can it be when balls get batted down like that?
Yeah. Very, very, because you could have the right play called, everything could go right, and then it gets knocked down before you get into the execution of it. So I think that's a really good observation, Dave, and it's a little demoralizing when that happens because everything can go right, and the guy gets his hands, doesn't get free on a rush, but times it up, and knocks it down. Being in obviously before I came here, being in the AFC South with J.J. Watt, that was always, man, he'd had a knack for that. he had a knack for that, and it was always demoralizing when he got it. And I remember him always doing this when he would get it, and just I had a ton of respect for him. And it always was like, man, we had a play there, and it didn't happen. The play stopped before it even got going. So it can be super demoralizing, but awesome job by our guys. Clint Hurt, man, he's a great coach, helping those guys be able to do that, and then all the credit goes to those guys that are able to get their hands on those. I think we look at PBUs sometimes, and we put that in the stat. Q had a couple nice ones tonight. Adoree had the nice one, but when those defensive men are able to get it, it's pretty cool.
That was the only team on their schedule that voted not to ban the tush push.
Respect.
And they stopped. Yeah, I was just going to ask if you do
Yeah.
respect for them for not voting to ban them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they did a good job tonight. Obviously, they had a good plan. They went and tried to find a way to stop it, and they did a good job stopping it tonight. Now we had a couple that were good. The one in the red zone, but they did a good job on that tonight. So respect to them and credit to them on that.
Nick, to kind of follow up on that, you guys have said for years now you want to be aggressive in those situations, in fourth and short, and obviously you have the tush push. When does that philosophy run into context where lane's not in the game? It hasn't been automatic tonight, and how does that factor into your decision? Just generally speaking.
Always. You always think about those things. Again, if we would have got pushed back, I'm assuming you're speaking of the fourth down one that we didn't get. If we would have got pushed back there and not moved the ball forward, because it was a full one. I felt like we moved it to about half a one, and then just didn't get enough on that next one. Again, you got to give them a lot of credit right there. But I do have utmost, you think about how it plays in game, but you also think about your past experiences. Everything's taken into account. But you definitely, you definitely think about how it's playing in game. I felt like it just wasn't, we had the one false start, and so you had the one in the red zone. We had the false start early, what they called, and then we had the one in the red zone that we got great push, and then we got about half of it on the fourth down one, and then we just weren't successful on the other one. Again, anytime we don't get a fourth down conversion, I'm always going to put that on myself. I'm always going to be hypercritical of myself, and obviously, had I known we wouldn't get it, I would have punted it. But obviously, the game's not played that way, and have a ton of confidence in it. But we'll go back and see what happened and why it happened.
Did you get an explanation on the on why it was a false start on Tyler C instead of neutral zone?
Yeah, when I thought that the guy got himself into the neutral zone off of a hard count, and I guess he was lined up there initially. Which would have ended up being a penalty had we snapped it. But we reacted there. You know what? In that scenario, and we ended up having to punt on 4th and 6. In that scenario, I'm not sure I prepared Tyler the best I could possibly prepare him for. Again, I thought that he jumped in there, but he was apparently lined up in there. And if he's lined up in there, and then you reach out and touch him, which we anytime there's a false start or an offsides, we teach our guys to reach out and touch. We had one last week, if you remember, but he didn't get into the neutral zone, and we ended up getting a penalty on it. We're hyper aggressive with that to try to get the free 5 yards, but I didn't realize, again, I don't think I prepared Tyler well enough, or Tyler may not have seen him in the neutral zone to begin with, because I don't ever recall going over that rule with him that if he's in the neutral zone and then you react, then that's a false start on us. So I don't think I did a good enough job preparing him in that scenario.
What are you
seeing offensively? It seems like you guys are able to gut out wins, but where do you think the offense is at this point?
Yeah, obviously we want to be better than what we were tonight, but every game's played a little bit different. Like the way the game is played sometimes is dictated of what's happening in the game, right? Make no mistake about it, our goal in every single game is to come out with a win, period. Right. And so sometimes the game's played a little bit differently in that. And we were able to get a 10-point lead. And so every game is played to win. But do we have to clean up things on offense? Of course we do. We're gonna have to clean up as good as the defense played. We're gonna have to clean up things on defense. As good as the special teams played, we're gonna have to clean up things on special teams. But we gotta we have to be on offense. There's some shooting ourselves in the foot that's happening, and some of those things are things that, we always talk about takes no talent, right? And when we have such good talent that we have to be able to master the things that take no talent, so our talent can shine.
Nick, AJ Brown, you described them as gritty, ugly, whatever word you want to use. Is it a style you like, and is the style that best fits this team?
Say that one more time, Zach. I'm sorry.
Over the years, you've described these types of wins as, gritty, ugly sometimes. Is it a style that you like, and is it the style that best fits the win?
I'd like to win every game by 30 points. I don't think that's a reality of the NFL. I think we take a lot of pride in, just winning. Period. That's all this thing's about, right? I've been on the other side where you lose, and you're sick about it, right? That doesn't mean, again, that you don't go to work like a madman the next day and try to fix everything that made it not a big, whatever, a 2-score win or a 3-score win. But we take pride. I think the answer really, Zach, is we take pride in winning. I think our guys have this knack of knowing. I think as I watch football today, I feel like I saw a lot of teams waiting to lose. Our team's waiting to win because they know how to win, and there's something to be said for that. Of knowing how to win and knowing how to figure out ways to win. Do we want things to be better? Yeah, of course. You're in a constant quest of getting better. And we're going to be, like I said, crazy tomorrow about the things that we're working tomorrow. And I don't care what time the game got over or whatever it is. We're working tomorrow to get better. And that will be our mission. But it is, you sense it in those moments, and from the coaches and from the players and from myself, we know how to win, and we're going to figure out a way to win the game.
AJ Brown had
On those last two defensive
I'll get to you.
On those last two defensive drives, Jacoby had obviously the sack on the blitz, and then the two plays where he mirrored Jahmyr Gibbs and Jamison Williams. He held up pretty well. What do those moments say about Jacoby?
Yeah, he's a ball player. That's what I remember, just watching guys play when I was a young kid, watching Southwestern Trojans play football, and I can't tell you how many times I've heard my dad or someone say, "Hey, he's just a good football player." He's just a good football player. I mean, I think of a lot of guys. One guy that keeps coming to my mind right now as I'm talking is Pete Conley, just a good football player. Jacoby's just a good football player. He prepares his ass off. You can see how much the guys love him out on that field. And we got 3 really good linebackers. And really, I love our entire linebacker group. But just a good football player, because I can't tell you how much respect. I mean, you saw Gibbs out there today. That guy is an explosive playmaker. He is he's electric. He's one of the best backs in the NFL. I'll take Saquon over anybody, but I'm not sure that there's anybody else above him of what I saw in person there today. Because I don't think in 22 he wasn't there. I think 23 was his first year. Yeah, he's electric. He's electric. I got a lot of respect for him.
AJ had 11 targets tonight. Was that just how the game kind of expressed itself, or was it something you guys did to get him more involved?
We're always trying to get AJ involved. Always, 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 always. And the game is played differently each and every week of what happens. So I don't think I've been shy about saying this. The game plan's always going to start in the passing game with him and Devontae and Dallas. And so we're always trying to do that and get him the football. And that's the way game played out a little bit today.
All right, thanks.
Everybody else good? All right.